So I recently just watched the movie Bird Box, and I gotta say it was kind of eye opening on two different levels. I felt like naturally it opened my mind naturally, and spiritually opened my mind spiritually. And if you bear with me for a second, I'll break it down to you. So first, in the natural, the things that I liked about the movie was I absolutely loved the director and how he portrayed the black man. So here this black man comes. He first sees Sandra Bullock running, pregnant. She falls down, and some lady runs out the house to help her. You know the story. And this guy, he attempts to run past her, and he stops and helps her and gets her up to this house. And he's knocking and banging on his door, where on the other side, the guy's with a shotgun. And unbeknownst to them, that this guy had a shotgun on the other side of the door, but this black guy stopped to help this pregnant lady that he didn't have to. At this point in time, everybody, the world's going crazy. It's suicide is going everywhere, and they're not supposed to look at this entity that's making everybody suicidal, and he selflessly helped this pregnant lady, which he didn't have to. So that was the first thing, and on throughout the movie, his character has just been phenomenal, and without him, they wouldn't have survived. He was the reason why, they had the bandanas covering their eyes. He was the inspiration behind going to the marketplace to make sure they had food to eat to survive. He had the brilliant idea of covering up the car with the black paint and the newspaper or whatever it was, the glue or whatever the case may be. But, several different times in the movie, he was, heroic. He was just, everything that depicts a good black man. And I'm just so proud of the director for depicting him that way. He took care of two kids that wasn't his by two separate people, actually. And the thing that was most impressive to me about this black man was he was strong in every way. I mean, physically, emotionally, spiritually. He had to have been in tune with himself spiritually. Here's why I say that. So they came that part in the movie where they decided that they was going to try to make a run for the river. And, the opposition came and the guys came knocking at the door and he's telling these guys to leave with this blindfold on. He shoots the girl with the blindfold on, and then he takes the blindfold off and he starts to kill everybody, right? And he was probably the only person, to my knowledge, in the movie that survived the longest with the blindfold off. And to the point where when he looked at this entity, this demonic entity that was making everybody go suicidal, when he took a look at it, his willpower, spiritually, his willpower was still so strong for a couple seconds that he was able to complete his will. And his will was to kill that last gunman that was in the woods with the handgun. And remember, in the movie, he ran out of shotgun shells and he picked up that handgun and he shot that last gunman that had a handgun as well. And then he gave in, like, okay, my will's done. My family's safe. And he kills himself. But everybody else, when they saw this entity and they started going crazy and getting suicidal, I mean, just instantly, they lost complete will of their own will. And, they was under this entity's, power and influence. And, he was able to fight that for a little while to complete his will. And so, I think the author did a great job of depicting this black man. I did not like that his name was Tom, and at the end of the movie, she names the boy Tom, and we know what a black man and Tom. But I'm gonna go and let that slide though. That little shady through. I'm gonna go and let that slide one time, because he did such a good job with his character though. And also another key point to remember about this black man of him being, not only was he physically strong and he wasn't just cut. He was gunned and nice, But another key thing is, when he was down in the kitchen, all odds was completely stacked against him. He had the barrel of the shotgun, while this other crazy lunatic dude had the bottom of the shotgun in his hand, pretty much damn near to the trigger. And then next thing you know, the camera flips and goes upstairs to Sandra Bullock and these two kids that are underneath this cover upstairs, and all we hear is two gunshots. And the next couple seconds is him coming to reassure her that it's okay and everything's okay. So that was just another thing. He had all the chips stacked against him, and still came out on top. So that's that part, the natural part. That's the thing that I loved the most about the movie, was how they depicted this black man. So spiritually, I could be wrong. I can completely be wrong. This is just my opinion. But I feel like spiritually, this movie was a message. I don't think this was a movie. I think this was a message. A message for what? I don't know. But I think this was a message. This was such a great film. And even though it was shorter than your normal film that's in the theater, this film was theater worthy. And it came out on Netflix at the end of 2018. By design. I think it's by design. I don't think it's just happenstance that this movie comes out at the end of 2018 and builds this big of a buzz. And, you know, the movie was completely accessible to everyone. You didn't have to go nowhere. As long as you had one of these, or somebody else had one of these, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, there's a meme on Facebook, you know, talking about, you know, 140 million people was watching Netflix, but there's only 14 active accounts, or whatever the case may be. But regardless of the fact, Bird Box came out at the end of 2018, and it was completely accessible to everyone. You know, here in Washington State, you know, Tacoma to be exact, you know, we have something at the local theater where it's like $5 Tuesday. So you didn't have to wait till $5 Tuesday or a regular day to pay your money to go see this Bird Box movie that everybody was on Facebook and Instagram or whatever on their social media sites talking about, Snapchat and all that type of stuff. And you didn't have to, you know, go somewhere to see what all these memes were about. You could sit right on your couch and turn on your Roku and go to Netflix, or from your phone, your tablet, or whatever your devices that you use to, you know, watch Netflix and see this movie. It was right at the edge of your thumb tips. You know, no money required, pretty much, as long as you got an account or somebody else got an account, you know. So I mean, I think it was by design that this movie came out at the end of the year, that it built this big of a buzz. You know, I mean, that's arguable, you know, but that it was accessible to everyone. You know, I mean, yeah, people spend money at the theater, you know, all the time. But the fact that they wanted this movie to be free so everyone would see it, I mean, I think it's by design. I don't think it's by accident. So it goes to further, you know, push my agenda, in my opinion, of how I think this was by design. And I think this movie was a message. So now, you know, I'm pondering, what is the spiritual significance with birds? You know, the God of, you know, the Bible only compared himself, from my recollection, you know, from my knowledge, to two animals, which was a lion and an eagle, a cat and a bird. And, you know, in this movie, Bird Box, you know, the birds were able to sense this evil, demonic, you know, entity, you know, and I mean, it's just, I don't know. So I'm thinking this movie was just a message, and I just want to know the symbolic, you know, between, you know, the birds and spirituality. You know, the dove, you know, is a peace bird, and all, you know, all this type of stuff. And God compared himself to an eagle, but it's still in the bird family. So, you know, I'm just kind of wondering. But overall, I mean, the movie Bird Box was, you know, it had some controversy to it. It had, you know, there were some points in there that was just kind of, I didn't really get, like the blind part at the end. Like, what was that all about? You know, I don't. So, I mean, I think that was just to completely just throw everybody off at the end. We still don't know what this entity was, so there could be a part 2. You know, all we know was that this entity was, you know, causing everybody to go suicidal. Also, another symbolic part of this movie was when she was in the river and they got off the boat. Before they got to where they was getting to, do you notice that's when that demonic entity started attacking them even harder? I mean, the whole movie, you know, it was like, you know, a wind will blow, and, you know, you knew he was there, or you knew this entity was there. But once she got close to these birds, I mean, this demonic entity started acting up. It took on several different voices, including the voice of Tom, you know, of her sister, the kids. I mean, this voice was completely acting up. So, you know, that was my perception of this movie, Bird Box. And let me know what you think. Go ahead and like this video, share this video, tell me what you think, and I look forward to hearing from you.